Hi, welcome back to the breadboard. Today we have a bit of a special mailbag item. In the previous videos where I've been talking about industrial control, both for my CNC router projects that I've got ongoing, I've got another one started as well where I'm building a smaller one with more precision for PCBs and things, and a bigger one that I have outside. One of the ongoing issues is the display that you use to control this. Because of the nature of doing things like CNC or any industrial control in a non-ideal environment, for instance, more extreme temperatures, sub-zero or very high extended range of humidity, maybe getting splashes of water and things around and dust and things like that. You don't want to have a computer or a display that is going to be damaged or compromised because of these contaminants, if you like, floating around in the air. Now, I've shown you industrial PCs in the past that have no fans in them or anything, completely passively cooled, and therefore very suitable for these slightly harsher environments. What I haven't had up to date has been a display that is capable of handling this. Yes, I've shown you 10-inch and 7-inch displays that are suitable for industrial control, but they've not necessarily had an IP65 rating where they can tolerate high humidity, dust, and a certain amount of water resilience. So what I have today in here is a display that is from a company called Faytech, and they sent me this. They communicated with me a little while ago, and we talked about some of the projects I was doing, and they offered to send me one of their displays, and what they've sent me is in this box right here. And it's IP65 rated. It's got HDMI input. It runs from industrial power supply kind of ranges. It's got audio, etc., etc. And it's also capacitive touch, 10-finger kind of touch as well. And it is, according to what I've seen online, able to hook up to pretty much anything that outputs an HDMI output or a DVI out and things like that, and also feed the touch controller out via USB back to that device. So it should be supported by a number of different kind of systems, including Windows and Linux and a Mac and things like that. So we're going to give that a little go as well. Anyway, in the meantime, let's get this thing open and have a look. So I've already started opening the package. I just had to check a couple of things when it arrived because it looked like it had been a little bit mishandled, but it appears to be fine. So this is from Faytech Technology Co. Limited in Shenzhen in the People's Republic of China. So this is obviously foreign made, Chinese made unit, but it's very high quality. I'm going to provide you a link to the website and things as well. But let's get in here and pull out the unit so that we can have a look. So this is the package. It's fairly plain at the moment. The outside box, of course, had all the company logos and everything on. Looks like it's very well protected in here with foam insulation and everything else. So here we have it. Let's start going in. So nice thick high density expanded foam for protection. This feels like this is the main display unit here. So there's not a huge amount in the box. This is the display. So let's just take this coating plastic off of it so that we can have a look. It's actually quite heavy. So here is the display itself. One thing I'm noticing right away is it's got like a rubberized coated outer layer and a nice screen protection on, like a scratch resist plastic, which we'll take off. So that's a nice display here. I can't see any gaps around the front here. As I said, this is IP65. We will get the data sheets out. On the back of the unit, looking at this, we can see we have the control. So we've got power, looks like a menu, like an OK, and a plus and minus. Small recessed at the back for probably the control electronics. Not very thick, which is nice because if you want to mount this somewhere, you want to be able to maximize the space. Looks like it has vesa mounting holes on the back of this, so you could get a arm adapter. I don't have one right now, but I will be going to get one. The one thing I'm noticing here as well, looking on the back of this, and this is just a physical observation, let me just zoom in and show you, is that everything here is sealed, silicone sealed. So I'm not going, because I want to be able to use this in my workshop for the CNC, I'm not about to start breaking all the seals and showing you what's inside here, because I got this from Faytech to review and also to use for a specific purpose. And if I start breaking all these seals, I'm going to compromise the IP65 rating of it. But you can see everything is sealed in here. So there's going to be no chance of water ingressing and things like that, which is really, really nice. So what else we have here is CE certification, FC certification. It's 12.1 inch IP65 touch monitor. So this is not a computer, it is just a monitor, which is what we were wanting. Its input is 8 to 36 volts at 2 amps max. The 2 amps is with 12 volts going into it. So it's supposed to be, that would be about 24 watts, I guess. 8 to 36 volts, so it's very much able to handle the industrial style voltages of either 12 volts or 24 volts that typically are found in industrial environments. The rubberized feel is really nice, and obviously you could panel mount this by having a recessed bracket, but as I said, this is, you know, with a vesa mount you can put it on an extension arm or something as well, so that you can have it hanging over a control station, for instance the CNC, which is exactly what I want to be able to use this for. And so one of the advantages of this screen is that aside from the fact it's IP65 rated, is the way that they have sealed the display and the touch panel behind the glass. A lot of displays that you will see, they still have a gap. They might have sealed everything, but they still have a gap between the front panel and the actual LCD display. What Faytech do is they have a specialized proprietary process where they actually fill the gap with a transparent sealant. It may be silicone based or something, but they fill it, bond it, and cure it. And I actually had to wait a few extra weeks to get this unit because they were making it for me, and it takes time for that process and for the curing to set properly. The advantage of this is that it gives you a much, much brighter display. It is a lot less subject to distortion. For instance, if you've sealed this unit and you had little air gaps inside there in the display and your temperature was going up and down, then the expansion of the air in those gaps would start pushing the plates apart, and potentially you could crack the display, or at least at minimum cause distortions and things like this. With this, there is no such problems because there are no air gaps inside. So the cable, because this is IP65 rated, the cable entry here is actually permanently attached. You can't remove it, and there's a long cable here. It looks like it's about 6 feet long. Yeah, maybe about 6 feet, maybe a little bit longer. So you can mount it quite away from the display to wherever the computer is. The version I have here has got an HDMI input. This connector here is for the power, and then we have the USB, which will be for the touch screen going back to the computer. Now, the HDMI in this case will also carry the sound, with standard HDMI feature, to go to the speakers that are built right into this. Now, even though we've got the speakers here, they are still IP65 rated, so that's good to know. We have an LED on the edge here for, I guess, giving us power status, and then there's just a couple of indents here, but they're not connected to anything. Maybe they're just to help you align for the buttons on the back. Nothing else on the outside of this display. So let's just put that down a second. What was also provided to me by Faytech with this was a power adapter. So this is a universal adapter, 100 volts to 240 volts, and its output is 12 volts at 5 amps. So more than enough to drive the display. So let's just get this packaging out the way. Now the first thing I want to do is power this up and just try it with a couple of things to see how well it will automatically adapt to, say, Windows, Linux. We'll grab a Raspberry Pi or something and connect it up and see how well it will automatically connect. So let's just stand this up here. Okay, I've got lights reflecting, so let me just set a couple of things up and I'll be right back with you. Okay, so first up we're going to plug it into a Windows Surface. Now what I'm doing is I'm just powering up the Surface first so that we have it running and ready. But no display. I guess I had something already running there. Let's just get rid of this. What was this? Netflix. Alright, so we've got our Surface up. We don't have this powered up yet. What I'm going to do, I don't know if I can make this zoom in any closer. You can actually see there's quite a border on the unit. The actual display is from about here to here, just based on what I can see with the shading of the front bezel, which is fine, 12.1 inch diagonal. Okay, let's connect things up. Now the first thing I noticed is that the power connector actually is a screw fit. Now that obviously makes sense. It's designed for industrial and more harsh environments. You don't want vibration pulling your power plug out. So let's just hook this in first. It probably will power on. Yeah, I just noted the display just doing a couple. Whoop, there you go. It's looking for an input. So there's the power connected. Now we've got these other two. So we have HDMI and we have the USB. So I'm just going to grab my HDMI adapter. Excuse my head. All right. Now let's just plug that in to here. It should be detected probably by the computer. Yeah, it's detected that right away. And let's plug in the USB, and there's the output immediately, so that's cool. And there's the USB plugged in, and we just move these cables to the up out the way so they're not blocking the screen here. Now what we should be able to do right now is just showing HDMI input up here, is we should be able to it set itself up as dual screen. So let me just change it to be mirrored. Okay, so now we are duplicating. Now what's happening here is my Surface screen is actually very high resolution. If I look at the display settings there, so you can see right here, let me just zoom in on this so that you can actually see it, is sitting at 12,160 by 1440. But the resolution of this display is 1024 by 768. But the HDMI input will take it and it will scale it down to suit the display that it's running on, which is obviously clearly working right here because we've got everything on the screen from here. So now I'm controlling right now from the mouse pad on my Surface, and you can see we've got things changing quite happily here. But I have plugged in the touch. Now, I've not loaded any drivers or anything yet, so let's see if the touch will work. So let's just try something. Let's just bring up Putty, for instance. Yep, that seems to work there. Highlighting different things, bring up maybe mail. Yep, that's working. Bring up a PDF. Yep, that's nicely working. Just close that. My computer, C drive. Now obviously, because we have a scaling going on here, these small texts is not showing up very well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the resolution to the native resolution of the screen here. So let's just go back in here again. Sorry, wrong. I want display settings and the advanced. Now if I change this to be 1024 by 768, which is the native resolution of the screen, I'll keep that. So now we are working at the native resolution of this screen. Now if I bring up some of these items, we should be able to see them much better, of course. You can touch and scroll, which is really nice. So as you can see, I haven't had to do anything to set this up. I didn't go in and load any drivers. It's all just working nice and happily, which is really cool. The screen has a little bit of a feels like it must be a slight rubberized coating on it, because I can feel it, my fingers dragging on the screen, similar to this rubberized. Actually, it's less drag on the rubberized edge of the screen than what there is on the actual screen. It is capacitive touch, and as I said, it is all waterproof and everything else, and it's probably got some coating on to also protect the screen. So that's all well and good. Let's just bring up something that can allow us to maybe OneNote. Can I do it with my finger? Finger draw. There we go. Now I can. Change colors. You can also do the usual capture things and move them. So that's all working very nicely. But from a usability perspective, this is working very nicely. The touch screen works very well. Now I don't know, have I got an application in here that's more suited to what my needs are at the moment? Okay, ready to run Mark III. So I did the install. Mark III loader, Mark III mill. There should be a couple other ones here somewhere. Anyway, Mark III loader. So we want to be able to do a milling machine, not a lathe or a plasma cutter. And we just say okay. So we're going to try and do this all with touch screen. And that's come up. Let's maximize the screen size. So obviously Mark III is designed to work with a smaller screen resolution. So it looks like this will quite happily run this for me. Now if I wanted to run it at this resolution, of course that's not terribly good. Let's just try and change the screen resolution. I'm not sure what Mark III actually expects as a resolution, but it's certainly usable. So I've loaded the G code. We should be able to just say run. It's running in demonstration mode right now. So anyway, there's Mark III kind of running on it. As you can see, it does need to be, Mark III seems to be written for a lower resolution, although I'm sure there's a way of making it bigger, because you do have screen configuration capabilities and things like that. So I'm going to change this now to be extended so that we can see what it will do on its own. So we'll say extend, hit apply, keep the changes, and now we're running as two separate screens here. So my laptop is running at its full 22,000 odd by 1,000 odd, and the Faytech display is running now at its native resolution. So let's just see what that is. Display setting, and you can see here it's defaulting to 1024 by 768, which is its natural resolution. So that's all well and good. So it's running on a Windows with Windows Surface, Windows 10 and I just plugged in the HDMI, plugged in the USB, and it just worked great. So let's just power this down and we'll grab a Raspberry Pi and try it with that as instead. Okay, so I've just grabbed a random Raspberry Pi out of my collection. This one happens to be a Raspberry Pi 2 model BV1.1. So I've just burned a brand new SD card with the latest image with pixels in it. So we're going to power up with that. I've never powered this up yet with this SD card in, so it will be a brand new boot. So it should be a fairly reasonably fair test of it booting up. So let's connect a USB in here. Let's connect the HDMI. So the only thing left now is to power this up, but I do want to just add a keyboard. So let me just grab one. Okay, I've got one. I picked up my little cheapy Microsoft keyboard. Haven't plugged it in yet, so you can see all we've got. There's no network connection. There is no on the Raspberry Pi. There's no network connection. There's nothing else except for the screen connected. So I want to see if right out of the gate it's going to work with the USB adapter and of course the display. Now the display, I believe, is still turned on, so we should be able to just hook up power. I'm using a proper official Raspberry Pi power adapter, and we'll see what happens. Well, I guess that starts working right away for the display, which is nice to see. I think that's the biggest screen I've seen with the Raspbian so far, because I typically normally use it with the official 7-inch display. Now let's see if the touch, oh look at that, touch is working right away. Nothing to do even for a Raspberry Pi to get the touch working, which is really nice. So I should be able to, obviously there's nothing here. Bluetooth, no Bluetooth adapter found. This is a Raspberry Pi 2, not 3, so there is no included Bluetooth or anything like that. Programming Office, Internet, VNC, Chrome web browser. Let's just fire that up. Of course, it's not going to connect to anything because I don't have any network hooked up right now. So we now know that the touch screen and the display is fully detected and works well with a Raspberry Pi. So I'm just going to plug in a network now so that the browser will work. Now the one thing with obviously the Raspbian is it doesn't have an automatic keyboard, so that pops up for you to type on. The audio for the Pi by default should go out of the HDMI port. So if I do something for YouTube perhaps here and see if it plays with the sound. So not from there, unless it is something to do with the Pi's audio not going out the way I would expect it to. And it could be a Pi 2 issue with not outputting by default the audio. So let me just grab my Windows display again, my Windows Surface again.
So much more.
Okay, let me just pause this a second. So I've just reconnected it up to my Surface here via the HDMI output, and just to show you on the audio, if I come over here and just click on the audio, it tells me quite clearly that it is connected via the Faytech HDMI display audio. So it's actually feeding the audio out through the Faytech HDMI interface to that display. So we go over here and zoom out again a little bit. And now if I come in here, you can see the audio is fully coming out of the Faytech, which is really good. Now that's on the Surface, so obviously the Raspberry Pi needs a setting adapting to make it work properly. But that's good. So it shows, you can hear the audio is quite clear. HDMI in, single USB I'm going to be using. It's a Logitech. All right, display quality is very nice. Nice and bright. If I go to the menus, second one down. Well, the brightness is at full right now, so let's just go into that. Let's bring in the brightness down to 50%. Yeah, 60% will do. So that's 6% brightness, 60% contrast, and that looks pretty good. Let's just hit the accept key. All right, so that's 50% brightness and that's 50% contrast, and you can see it's very, very readable. Audio is coming out of the HDMI speakers on the back of the display, which is great because it means I don't have to set up any speakers, and they're also included in the IP65 rating as well, which is awesome. So let's just have a quick look at the Raspberry Pi settings and see if I can figure out what to change there, and then we'll finish off this initial intro video. We will be doing another one when I do hook it up to the CNC. That might be another few weeks away, but I did want to introduce you to this Faytech 12.1-inch industrial IP65 rated capacitive touch screen. We're going to have a quick look at the tech specs on the website in a second, but this will suffice for now for the physical demonstration, aside from checking with the Raspberry Pi. So let's just go and check that, and then I'll see you at the computer. Well, I certainly have had the Raspberry Pi outputting audio via the HDMI lead before, so I'm not sure why right now it is not working, because just with those two settings it really should be, but obviously it's not on here. Now we do know that the display, of course, is working fine with HDMI because we were listening to that through the Windows Surface output just a moment ago. So this seems to be something to do with the Raspberry Pi, and I'm not going to bother diagnosing that on this video because it's not about this issue, it's about the display. So let's go look at the technical specs, and then we'll call it quits. So far, quite impressed with the display itself. Works very well. Touchscreen works very, very well. So here we are on the Faytech website. So let's have a look at the products that they have here. Now, the display that they've sent me, it's very new version, and I'm not sure if the exact model is in here, but I do know it's an IP65 high brightness monitor. So let's just go in here and have a look at the specifications for those. And we'll go down and pick the 12-inch version because that's what I have. So here is the display, 1000 nits brightness, full IP65 protection, LED backlight, optional VGA or HDMI cabling that's integrated, 8 to 36 volts, 5-wire resistive touch. Now mine is a capacitive touch version. They all come with a optically bonded screen to the, optically bonded glass on the front to the screen and the touch panel, so that the brightness is improved, as well as minimizing reflections and increasing the ruggedness of the whole overall display. For instance, condensation getting inside would not be a factor with this display because it is sealed and optically bonded all together for the display. So there's no way, because of the IP65 rating, that moisture can get in, and because it's sealed and there's no air gaps between the screen and the display, you'll also get no distortions with changes in air pressure and things like that. Mentioned a few of these already. The other factor for this, which is really great for my application, is it will work from -25 degrees C up to +75. And because of where I live in Canada, we do get the -20 odd degrees centigrade times. So, because this will be in my workshop that doesn't have any heating most of the time, it'll be nice to know that I can just go out there and use it when I need to still. Scrolling down, so we've got the size we've already mentioned. It's a 4:3 aspect ratio, native resolution 1024 by 768. Maximal showable resolution, it says 1920 by 1200, but as you saw, I fed it with a higher than 1920 HDMI screen resolution from my Surface, and it was quite happily taking it. So it's nice to know that it will do at least 1920 by 1200. And that's pretty much it for that display. But let's just have a quick look at what else Faytech have from their products perspective. So you've got resistive touch monitors, larger screens, 15 to 22 inch, capacitive touch screens, large size capacitive touch. Let's have a quick look in there. I will provide the link so you can see here they can go up to 55-inch capacitive touch monitors. That's pretty awesome. That will make a really nice desktop screen for my computer, that's for sure. But anyway, yeah, if you want to find out more on where you can buy these from, then just go to the website, go into Contact Us, and fill in your details, and they will contact you. There's also a phone number as well that you could call them if you want to. So all in all, they specialize primarily in the screens, but you can get variations of the screens with integrated PCs and things like that. And they do also have industrial main boards and industrial PCs available that they can provide as well. So here's a PC, very similar edge to what was seen just a minute ago on the back of a screen, and I'm sure they're probably the same motherboards and things that they're putting on there. The only difference is there is no screen attached to here, so you would have a separate video output in this case. So anyway, that's the Faytech 12-inch capacitive touch IP65 rated display that I have. It's a really nice unit. Now, I'm not done with showing you videos on this. I just wanted to introduce you to the display and show you it, but once I have it connected up to the CNC machine, you will be seeing it again in some future demonstrations and videos that I do when I work it with the CNC. And if there's any other projects that comes up where I will need a touchscreen, then I'll look at using that for it as well. When I need something this size, of course, for smaller projects, I do have a lot of other HMIs and HDMI screens that can work with those. But when you want a bigger one, where you want to have it in an industrial environment, waterproof and everything else, then this is the one that I would be going for based on my current inventory of screens. So if you like the video, then give it a thumbs up. If you don't, then obviously don't. Faytech can be reached just by sending them an email. They certainly have been quite responsive to any of my questions. I'd like to thank them again for sending me this display in keeping above board and everything. They have not paid me to do a video, but they did send me the display and told me that I can keep it once I've done the review as well for my own use. Obviously they would like me to use it for my projects, and that gives them a bit more exposure, and it allows somebody that's unbiased to be able to try it with the applications to see how well it works. So anyway, that's it for now. I will see you on the next video. So bye.